Hey guys, I'm Rusty from Scuba Schools of America, and today I'm going to show you how to properly disassemble the Spirit rebreather, and also I'll show you how to reassemble and pack it appropriately. And what we're going to do is unscrew this, pop my cool lobster cover off, and on my particular unit I actually added a pony bottle on the side, which is my dill. So I'm going to pop off my dill here. And then if you take a look over here, we have both canisters. And what's unique with these units is you can utilize one part of your canister, and then let's say an hour or two into your next dive, when you come back up, swap the canisters, because remember the exhalation canister is going to have the majority of the absorbent absorbing your exhalation. So this is where most of your use is going to be, and your secondary use will be over here. So you can always swap those aside on both sides of these units. So next thing we have is we have some clips right here. So we're going to pop that clip off, pop this clip off too, which makes it very easy for me. And down here we have Cert Clips, and the Cert Clips will pop straight out. And that's what keeps these things connected inside the unit themselves. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unscrew my inhalation side. There you go. They're just on their hand tight. They're not really hard. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take the top of this canister off. And inside the canister there is a nice little mesh screen. So you don't have to go out and buy any other screening to keep your absorbent secure. So we'll pop that mesh screen off. And then along the bottom we can go ahead and we can gently pull out this area right here where the Cert Clip was. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I've taken my hose off. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up from the Cert Clip. So you can see I've kind of wiggled it a little bit. This pulls straight up, and I can take it out, and I have one single canister that I can go ahead and deal with. The wire that's on here, this is for my computer, and we can leave that together. Let's go ahead and we'll go to the other side over here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that straight up, pull it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and unscrew the unit itself, and then we can take out the absorbent and change the absorbent quickly and easily. Everybody see the screen that's inside here? And usually when I fill this thing up, we fill it up pretty close to the very bottom of the threads, and then we put the screen back on. Let's go ahead, we're going to dump this out and put some new absorbent in it, so we'll see in a second. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and show you how to disassemble the counterlung. So these counterlungs, as you can see, actually wrap around the diver's body. And what I've done is I've created a clip that clips the front of my counterlung in, and then I connect the top of my counterlung, the side of the counterlung, to my BC, and then the bottom of the counterlung lays flush against my body. So that way it's very close to my own lungs, which makes work of breathing almost negligible. So moving down here, we have the counterlung connector, and we're going to go ahead and unscrew the counterlung connector. And we'll do the other side. And it pops out very easily, so that way it makes cleaning the unit very simple. And now I'm going to slide this back over, unclip my counterlung here, get rid of my diluent canister, so less messy for me. And if you notice what it is, I actually put a tie wrap here, so I tie wrapped it in to the side of my BC, so I'll cut that tie wrap off and pop the other counterlung out. Alright, so we're going to put some absorbent. We use 408 absorbent in the unit, and you want to drop the absorbent in kind of high, and sometimes it's a new bucket, it gets stuck. You see the dust coming out of the absorbent. I put the absorbent in just above, or right below, actually, I should say, the threads. Now be careful not to pack it in, because you don't want to make it really, really tight as you're breathing. There's one set of absorbent, has this built-in scrim on it. So push the scrim in, protect my absorbent, go to the other absorbent canister. Try to get as much dust out of there as we can. There you go. You can see how that dust's on the ground. Cool. And should be ready to rock and roll. We'll do is we're going to go back into the classroom and go ahead and put the unit together. See you in a second. Okay. Alright, so we have our counterlungs. We're going to go and stick our counterlung into our system. And the counterlungs are going to come into the back of the unit. One there. One right there. And the way that we have this set up is that the counterlungs are going to go ahead and plug in to the unit in this area right here, so that way we can go ahead and get ready to do our dives. So we'll squeeze one of the counterlungs into here, and it's a real light threading, so you don't have to be real hard on the threading to put it in. So just have to make sure that it's pushed down all the way. And so we'll go ahead and finish threading this unit up. Remember, don't over tighten it, and be careful not to cross thread it. Being that it's plastic on rubber, essentially, you should be good to go. And just double check, make sure you're threaded appropriately here. Make sure you're threaded on the appropriate on the other side as well. We'll pull our counterlungs through. Counterlungs through. Now we're ready for our absorbent canisters. It doesn't matter which absorbent canister you start with. We got to plug those on. So I'll go ahead and go to my inhalation absorbent canister. My inhalation absorbent canister, we have my sensor top and the sensor array. And we'll go ahead and push this down. And once again, it's just a nice, easy thread, nothing hard, nothing major. Don't crank down on it too tight. Just hand tight and snug. You have a double O-ring seal that's in here, so that protects you from flooding. And then we can go ahead and drop this down into the counterlung assembly. And we'll push down on it. And then we'll go to the exhalation side. Thread it on. Same thing, just snug. And on your own unit, you'll get kind of a feel as to what direction you're going to want to have your hose connectors at. Everybody's a little different. I'd like mine to point out just a little bit. Once we have those on, we can go ahead and connect our diluent. Some people put a quick disconnect on here. I just have the standard threading mechanism. And then what we got to do is we have these Cert Clips. And if you'll notice, we can rotate this canister so that way we can get the Cert Clip holes in a position that we can see it, or see the holes. And when doing the Cert Clip, there's kind of a little trick to it. And I find it's easier if you start with the narrow part in the interior portion of this hole and slide it through, because what it does, it'll kind of line it up and it makes it easier to get the Cert Clip to line up with the appropriate holes. And obviously make sure it's squeezed in all the way. There's one. And there's two. And push them all the way, you'll feel it snap. And that way we have the string on here, mainly just to protect you from losing your Cert Clips. Some people take them off, but I prefer to keep the string on there, so that way I keep both my Cert Clips together. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and connect our canister clamp. There's one clamp. Here's my secondary clamp. And I'm just about ready to go. Looking up here once again, you notice this one's been twisted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn it, so that way it's in a position that's more comfortable for me when I have the system on. I like having my hoses come out and around just a little bit. Some people like it right over the top. I like mine out and around just a little bit. Makes it more comfortable. And next thing I do is take my Mouthpiece Hoses, find the connection on it, push in and turn. Make sure it locks in though. Alright, so what you can notice is that I can rotate this ring until it finds its opening, and I can push down and lock it in. It's a little quarter turn lock-in mechanism. Some divers like to have weights on their hoses. I found that because the hoses are relatively short compared to the other KISS units, I don't utilize the weights as much on my own particular unit. And this is our new VOV, or Bailout Valve. Same thing, you can see the locking mechanism. Push in, and then after you push in, you turn to lock the mechanism in. Pause. So find the units, lock it in, and turn. Or locked in. If you notice also there's Cert Clips right here, so if I want to disassemble this, I can pull the Cert Clip out, pop this hose out, and I can get into the interior mechanism of my Bailout Valve really easily, and don't have to mess or fuss around with tools or anything like that. We'll show you that on an alternate video. So mouthpiece is hooked up. This is just about ready to go, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and hook in my quick bailout mechanism over here. Some people put a quick disconnect on here. I haven't. I just put the standard hose on, and obviously with your own unit you're going to want to tighten this up with a wrench so it doesn't have the possibility of loosening up on you under the water. And then over on the side I have a quick disconnect, and this quick disconnect will be for your bailout or dill, excuse me. Some people will sling their quick disconnect, or sling their bailout or their dill, and then some people will mount it. And what I did is I put a mounting mechanism here. So what I've got is a little pony, and I'll pop that little pony on the unit. So you can see what that looks like.